Welcome, one and all, to Scotch and Smoke Rings, episode 439. I am your friendly neighborhood Oxhorn, here as always, with my suspender set to maximum stun. Sorry, I hit the microphone right there. Got a great show for you today. It's going to be a shorter show than usual, and we will be doing a bit of behind the scenes, because I am not done with my video for the day yet, or for tomorrow yet. I'm way behind schedule. I have got to get it done, and it's more ambitious. The project is more ambitious than I thought it would be, so I don't have time to play any games today. So, I still wanted to do the show, so I figured I would bring you along to watch me edit the video, tomorrow's video. Not the whole thing. I'm already over halfway done with it, but you can stick with me while I edit tomorrow's video. And also, where's my cigar? Did I forget to get my cigar? I forgot to get my cigar. All right, hold on. Gotta get my cigar. I'll be right back. This is why I do the program. You think it's here because I'm a great social guy and I love one-on-one interaction with No, it's because I like cigars. And I need a reason to write it off as a business expense. This is why I do this. You know I kid. You know I kid. It's only because I just love you, all right? That's totally why it is. Anyway, everyone's asking which video. Well, it's for my video tomorrow. My video tomorrow is going to be a lot of fun. Since you're on the program, you guys get a sneak peek. If I can get it done, my plan is to start the Point Lookout DLC series tomorrow morning. That was the goal. I've got all of the footage shot. I've finished the DLC. I know everything that's going on. I've got the scripts in my head. I'm halfway through editing the very first episode. I'm running into composer problems. Here's the deal. So, did you see my Old World Blue series, Old World Blues? Had a really good time making the Old World Blues series. Now, what I typically did in some of the other series is I found an official soundtrack song from Fallout 3, Fallout 4 that worked, and then I just edited it until I could get it to work for the trailer. That's what I did for Honest Hearts. But for Old World Blues, I couldn't find a single song that sounded 1950s sci-fi-ish sort of B-movie, right? So I had one composed. I've been working with a number of freelancers to do art for the shirts and to have that song composed. So I decided to do the same thing for Point Lookout. And I go and I find a bunch of composers. I say, I need this sort of swampy Cajun Louisiana feel going on. And I've got all these guys saying, yeah, we can totally do it and we can do it by your deadline. So I'm being careful. And I hire two of them to independently work on this song that I'm going to turn into the Point Lookout intro video, right? I figure that way if one of them drops a bomb on me last minute and just backs out, or if he's absolutely horrible, I'll at least have this backup guy. Yeah, it costs twice as much money, but it's worth it. Plus, I have a greater selection of the songs to choose from. They're both driving me crazy today. Let me light my cigar. Hold on. I'll tell you more in a second. Here's the important part. Okay. So, one guy, I'm talking with him early in the morning. I've been talking with him for 2 or 3 days, and they keep on saying they're going to have a sample for me. They're going to have a sample for me. I'm getting no samples from either of these guys. I have no idea what they're working on. Finally, this morning, I hear back from one guy. He says, I'm working on it all day, and I'll have a sample for you later in the afternoon. I say, great. I don't hear from him till noon. He gives me a sample, and it's okay. It's all right. Here, I'll play it for you. Now, remember, my intros for the DLCs are between 30 to 40 seconds long, right? That's how much I need. But this is what he sends me. If I can find it. This is what he sends me. Great, right? It's really short. That's 13 seconds. And then it repeats. That's 13 seconds, and it doesn't hit the dramatic beats that I need. So you know what I do. Just take a look at what I did for Old World Blues. It needs to start slow, kind of gloomy and, dramatic, and then it kind of builds, and it builds, and the instruments come together, and it builds into this big crescendo, this climax, and then I do the title slide at the very end, Old World Blues. This time for Point Lookout, right? So that's what I need. Now, what he's got is great. It's, a chummy, you've got the Bayou instruments, the guitar, harmonica, mouth harp. It sounds great, but he's not getting the tone I need, right? So I send him this message back. I say, I love what you've got going on. This is what I need. I'm glad I heard a sample of it, because this is the direction I need you to go to. And he's communicating with me well. He says, I'm going to get it to you. It's going to be perfect. And I've been waiting all day for his second sample. It's 7 o'clock at night, 7:10, my time. And I've gotten lots of emails from the guy. He says he's working on it. He's working on me. Okay, he just sent me the next draft. He says, I'm getting the draft to you now. Here's draft 2. I look forward to your thoughts. Okay, you want to see? I've been waiting all day for this since noon. He finally gets to me, and I'm gonna play it live on the program. I have no idea what this sounds like. You want to hear what it sounds like? All right, let's download it. This is draft 2 of the Point Lookout intro music slide that he made for me, and let's see if it works. It's pretty good, says Jay Mondrak. Yeah, it's a little repetitious, though. Did you hear that? He basically does one refrain, and then he repeats it 3 times. And that's okay. People do that in music. But, listen. This is going to be the entire thing for the first refrain. Then it's just going to copy it, and then add a few more layers in for the next refrain. Here we go. Number 2. That's great. More instruments, that's fine. Do you have another thought? No? Nope, it's number 3. We're doing the exact same thing a 3rd time. Just throw in another instrument. Okay. Maybe for the 4th time it's going to sound... Nope, and then it ends, right? Okay, so he repeats the same refrain 3 different times, just throwing in more instruments while it builds. And this is what I wanted to prevent. Had I gotten this copy earlier, I could have said, no, I want this to be a hummable melody from the beginning to end, and not just the repeating same refrain over and over again with more instruments thrown in. Which is frustrating, because now it's 7 o'clock, and I've got to email this guy and tell him exactly my thoughts, but I'm not going to do it right now because I'm in the middle of the show. But, listen, that's why I hired 2 guys. But the other guy is just as frustrating. Okay, here's... All right, this is... Okay, so the other guy, he's a really sweet guy, and I feel bad because I've had to give him really hard criticism all day today. He's been... so he's the polar opposite of the first guy. This second guy is really communicative. He's been sending me samples all day. He's been working really hard, and I know he's been trying his hardest, and... I hate being a jerk. I really hate being a jerk. But, he sends me this first version, and I'll play it for you. Here it is. Scotch. Okay. So as you can tell, a lot of the same thing. It's extremely repetitious. Da 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 over and over again. Da, da, da. Throw in a couple more instruments to kind of make it sound a little... So this is the feedback I'm giving to him. And, you know, he doesn't have the opportunity to see my smiling face while I'm talking. So he doesn't know that I'm a happy, cheery guy, and I'm not upset. I'm just a passionate guy. But so he just reads the text. I'm not writing in all caps, by the way. So no HR department get on my case. But you know, so I fear that I intimidated the poor man, and I didn't mean to. So for the rest of my conversation with him, I'm extremely polite, and I'm like, I don't want to, you know, I've already lost one composer. See, this is the whole story. There was a third composer I hired. Oh, I forgot to tell you. There was a third composer I hired yesterday, and he sent me his first sample, and I ripped it to shreds. I was not being bad. I was not being mean. I just need it to sound a certain way. And I said, you know, this needs to change this. He comes back to me. He says, he basically said I hurt his feelings and that he wasn't going to work with me anymore. And I got to prevent that from happening. I have got to prevent that from happening. So I'm being very, very supportive with this guy. And you know, he's come back with a bunch of different revisions. He's been working really hard. He's extremely talented. So after sending him probably hours and hours of worth of revisions, he came back with this, which was almost perfect. It's almost perfect. Let me play for you what he got to me. This is the revision of the same song after my direction. Hummable tune. No repetition. Right? A lot better. Right? I'm not even bad. It's great. There was one thing wrong with it. And that was this part. No, right here. The climax. The climax doesn't climax. It sort of builds, and then he flatlines. He releases the harmonica. So he's playing this harmonica, and then he just releases it. What happened there? That's no big emotional climax that we're building to, right? So I give him a little bit of feedback. I say, it's perfect. I love everything about it. We just need to nail this climax. Hour goes by. He comes back with this. Let me skip to the part. Okay, I can tell he worked on it. There are more instruments there. But there's kind of like a big noise. And that's okay. And I went back and I said, you know, you're doing great. I'm glad that you put the violin in there. We really need to land that harmonica piece. You've got the harmonica doing this beautiful tune, and then it just stops, and we hear this big honking noise. Can we just... I want to land this right on the climax. Let's just hit it. Can we... So this is the next one he came up with. And let me skip to the part. Better again, but it's still kind of weak. Right? Let's listen to that again. Okay, so we've got these violins doing a vibrato, and it's all right. They're trying to hold on, and then you got something going on underneath. It's just kind of wiggling around in there. And I'm like, all right, look. Jack says the first one is honestly better. Yeah, I'm feeling that way too. That's the problem. Every time I go to this guy looking for a revision, he makes it worse. And I finally told him that in my last message. I said, look, every time you send me a new revision, it's worse than the one before. And I don't want to lose this guy because he's doing a great job. It's this one thing. Please tell me I'm not insane, that I'm not alone here, that the climax needs some work, that high point That crescendo just needs to, you got to nail it. And it needs some work. Am I alone in this? But no, he comes, I've got 5 revisions here. This is the next revision. Can you tell what changed? I couldn't tell what changed there. Here's the next one. I couldn't tell what changed there. So by this time I'm getting frustrated. And I said to the guy, I said, I'm so happy you're working on this. I really appreciate everything you're doing. But I can't tell what you've done in the past 2 or 3 versions. So here's what you need to do. I need you to do an A minor chord. Just an A minor chord. End it on the A minor chord. Bring all of the instruments together. They need to resolve on one final chord, an A minor chord. Then we've got that big pow. There's a slight pause. And then we go into the rest of it while it goes down, right? Jamie says that I'm overthinking it. I know. And that's the problem. I do this on everything, but it's got to be perfect. That's what. Anyway, so he sends me this. He's really proud of the fact that he's rewritten these two sections, and he says that he nailed the A minor chord. But this is what it sounds like. Let's listen to that again. Oh, man. And I lose it. I mean, I don't lose it, but I don't say it to him. I'm just really frustrated. Oh! Okay, he's back with another one. Here we go. Let's download it. So this is the guy whose version of the song we've been listening to. You know what it sounded like? It sounded like he did the A minor chord, but he took each string separately. So it was each string within the A minor chord, but he played them separately. So, not a chord. Okay, here's the revision that he just sent me. Let's take a listen to it from the beginning. Now, again, he's a really talented guy. I'm not mad at him. I'm just a little frustrated. I really hope this works out. Please, please let this work out. Am I alone? Please tell me that I am not alone. Everyone says, okay, he says he likes the second one from the first guy. That last banjo string is off a little. Man. I'm experiencing a unique sensation. I am very rarely at a loss for words, but I don't have the words I need to express what needs to be done because I can't write music. If I could write music, I mean, I wouldn't have to hire him, so this is a moot point, but if I could write music, I could express in words what he needed to change. I know what needs to change in my head. I can hear it, but I can't express it with words. So I get frustrated and All right, let's listen to version 2 from the first guy again. good, but it needs to build more. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I have to respond to these guys. I'm working right now. I'm sorry. I know I'm doing a live stream, but I got to respond to these guys. So let me just... I'll read what I'm writing so that I'm still live streaming. I'm going to say... I should read. Okay, this is very good. What we need is a swifter, more active crescendo that sounds a little more frantic and ends more abruptly. I've been doing this all day. All day I've been sitting here doing this. It's so close. It's so workable. I mean, if I put that in the video as it was, no one would bat an eye. They'd think it would be fine. Science guy says, draw a diagram to express how you want it to look visually. What if the buildup was lessened? That way he could go easier on the climax, says Dominique. Ooh. Play them both at the same time? No. No. It ends abruptly. Yeah, that's one thing I noticed. It does end abruptly. It does end too abruptly. But then we need a resounding note to end on. I feel like we sort of just let it go and it vaporizes. See, this is how I talk about music. I say things like, let's land it on its feet. Let's make sure it doesn't vaporize. I use all of these words that I'm sure musicians, they don't know what to do with that. They're like, you don't want it to vaporize? Okay, what does that mean? I'm sure that's exactly what he's thinking. But that's all I know how to do. I'm trying to explain to him what I want it to not do by using the only words I know. I don't know musical words. Oh. Okay, I feel like we sort of just let it go and it vaporizes. I need a more resonant ending note. Okay, hopefully he can do something with that. And then I've got this other poor guy. I feel really bad because it was so close, and I've been working with him on this all day. See, that's the ending I want. That ending is the ending I want. It ends abruptly, silence, then he goes into that last melody. It's so perfect. It's just a climax. Get the climax right. It's twangy, and all the notes don't match. I'm going mad. I still have to edit the video. It's 7:30. I still have to edit the video. All right. What do I tell this guy? Okay, guy number 1 says, perfect, I like how you think. I'm working on that right now, thank you. All right. See, another thing that's frustrating is the second guy, he's on mountain time, and it's like late. He's an early riser, so I'm keeping him up late. So I feel really bad. I like them both, says White. Yeah, I like them both too. John says there's just that one note that doesn't match. I know, that's the frustrating thing. It's one note, Everything else is perfect. It's one note. Oh, I wonder if I could edit it myself. No, I couldn't do that. I know it is late and you need to sleep. I still have the climax still. How could you make that and think it's okay? I mean, I don't mean to be mean. I don't want to be mean, but I'm not a musician, and I would never go, oh, that sounds good. And how do I express this while being kind? That's the problem. I'm having a problem with kindness. How do I remain kind with this guy? Because I don't want to lose him, and I don't want to hurt his feelings. But I've had to tell him, no, this is bad 5 times. Okay. The chord is still not in sync. It goes twangy and off the rails at the climax. I don't understand it. However, everything else about the song is absolutely perfect. I especially love the ending. It's so amazing. I just don't understand this climax. Be specific. Tell him to change one particular note. That's what I tried in version 4. I said, look, everything's great except for the final note on the climax. You need to end on one chord. Make it an A minus. That's exactly what I told him. And his solution was to make this chord. It's an A minus, but all notes are off. The chord goes together. Like a piano. 3 notes. So, ching. You click it once. You don't go. And I gotta do the video by tomorrow, man. Okay. Maybe I can find a previous version of the song that he did where I was happy. And if we go back in time and listen to version 4... I mean, you can see why I had the criticism that I did at the time. I mean, yes, there's no twanginess in there, but it's just sort of... He builds and builds and builds and then lets it go. And it just... What happens to it? It's like he's letting go of petals in the breeze. It just flies away. All right, well, I'm going to get what I get from him. And if it doesn't work, I still have this. You know, it's the thing about this, I like it. It's very standard. You're going to hear stuff like this in video game trailers. You're going to hear stuff like this in movie trailers, and that's fine. I really kind of wanted something unique. I really wanted a really down-home Cajun bayou, chunky, clunky, twangy song that was emotional and it was sad, but there were tinges of the occult in there. This was me describing the song I wanted to both of these guys, and the result is what you just heard. And this guy comes with it. It's a solid song. This song is a solid song. It feels really mainstream to me, you know? It just doesn't feel unique enough, which is okay. It's okay. It's that resolution. That resolution is weak. He just lets it go. He just... Alright, I can't spend any more time on this. I gotta get to editing my video. The poor guy is willing. He's saying now that he's going to give me a discount for all of my hassles. He's such a nice guy. I'm not going to accept the discount, but it's just not where I want it to be. So frustrating. Okay, so he's going to splice in the climax from version 4 with the version that he has now, and that should do it. Great. Great. Well, we're getting things done, at least, Scotch. Maybe cowbells would do it. The Armor Range Model Work says that's too Western, not swamp-style music. Needs washboards and spoons. Yeah, you're right. You're right. It is a little Western. It needs more... It needs to sound more Cajun. A gentleman with a tip says, personally, I think it sounds too busy. There was one you played 5 to 10 minutes back that I thought sounded just right. It sounded more calm and laid back. Is it this one? This was version 1. This was guy number 2's first version. Or second version. Breathy thing bothered me. So good. That ending is so good. Maybe you're right. Maybe I should just go with this version. That clock at the beginning, though, that's a little weird. Should I just use that one? It doesn't have the weird twangs. Yeah, I don't understand the clock either. That's why I had him take it out. All right. I asked him for two versions. A revision of the one that we just kind of worked on together that we've been working on all day. And then a version of the very first one he sent me this morning, which I'm sure is going to make him upset. He's like, we've been working on this together all day, and you want the first one I sent you this morning? Yeah. It sounds sort of comical, says Bukladi. Yes, you're right, but wait until I put the visuals to it. It's going to make sense when you see big mutated swamp creatures and shotguns and the occult weird, Dunwich stuff. It'll work. It's going to work. Trust me. Do not doubt the Oxhorn. Do not doubt. All right. Now I got to get to work on my video. All right. Thank you. You guys have been helpful. You guys have been helpful. I'm glad that you guys have been here for this. Now, behind the scenes on my video editing process, let's see if I can share my screen with you so you can see what I see. There. I think you can see it. Screwdriver. Keys. In the pocket of my coat. Why? What's up? Everything okay? Oh, that was my wife. She, is heading out. Needed my keys for something. I hope everything's okay. Yeah, okay. All right, okay, sorry, now I've got my face in here. Okay, here we go. So here I am working on the video. What do you use to this is Adobe Premiere Pro. Here I am in my timeline. Let me push this up a little bit so you can see better what I'm doing. This is the very beginning of the video. So this is the way it's going to work, right? One day while exploring the ruins southeast of the Arlington Library, we see You see the riverboat right there. You talk with Tobar the ferryman.
I need you.
Oh, wait, no, that's Catherine.
Silly little thing that she is.
A few exotic critters and inhospitable locals. So stay here if you're too dainty to rough it.
There's Tobar the ferryman. So, my plan, and I left a big space in my timeline for it, is right here, you board the ship to Point Lookout. To Point Lookout. We can now begin our 30-day voyage to Point Lookout. This is where I would cut to the intro. Which I have yet to make, because I've been waiting on this song all day. Then we arrive here. I love this. This is the actual arrival at Point Lookout from Fallout 3. Isn't it great? Listen to the instruments they choose to use. At last, we arrive. At Point Lookout. Then I've been editing all up through here. I've got almost everything put together. So you can see I'm in the final stretch of editing the actual video. This is where I am at. So this is the full length of the video right here that I've already edited. It's ready to go. This is what I'm working on now. And heading through the double. So we need to find our own way. Turning around and heading through the double doors.
Hey, over here.
Oh, there he is.
Good job blocking off that hole. Hurry and get in here. Looks like they're about to breach from the east wing.
Heading through the door, we find ourselves in the upper floor. So you can see that in the gameplay footage, I didn't immediately start following him, but it doesn't make sense for me to narrate going over into this corner when there was nothing there. So that's where I need to make a cut. So I'm going to cut right about there, push it over. And then I need to use a constant power transition so that the sound between the two clips isn't
Breach
jarring.
from the east wing.
Heading through the door, we find ourselves in the upper floor of that big entry room that we explored at the very beginning. We walked through one of those doors that was locked, another blocked door. Okay. So we get attacked by... Okay, my wife just needed to check the mailbox, and I had the keys. That's why she came in. She just needed the keys. All right. So I'm going to mute the background music just to make sure I did the cut at the right spot for my recording. First through the other blocked door. And I did. Then we're going to mute that just to make sure that it sounds okay. Then what I typically tend to do is I allow you to watch me finish the fight, because that's the action sequence. People like seeing that.
You won't bother anyone ever again.
And when an NPC says something useful, like he says, you won't bother anyone ever again, I usually keep that in. And then I need to figure out what happens next. Desmond's gonna hang back while we do all the dirty work. Once we finish looting all the corpses, we can head through the door to the east. We find ourselves in a hallway.
Hurry,
There's a
get in there before...
Wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. There's a disconnect here. Was blocked, and then tribals burst through the other blocked door.
You won't bother anyone ever again.
Okay, that's what I was going to do. So I was going to... See, I'll have this direction in my head while I'm shooting the footage and recording, but I never take any notes. So I always figure I'll remember when I get to that point, and then I forget sometimes. But I remember now. So what I was going to do is I was going to skip forward to when Desmond says this.
Hurry, get
So that it sounds like a clean cut.
in. Hurry, get in there before more of them come out. Find where they're coming from. Hurry, get in there before more of them come out. Find where they're coming from and stop them. Just like before, I'll be keeping an eye out.
Unfortunately, when I was recording this bit of the footage, I was so focused on looting the corpses that I forgot to look at the guy who was talking at me, but I didn't feel like going back and reshooting it. So that's what we get. Desmond's gonna hang back while we do all the dirt. I'll do a cut immediately after he finishes his dialogue, and then start my narration here. Desmond's gonna hang back while we do all the dirty work. And then I believe I jump forward to already being in that room. Once we finish looting all the corpses, Nope, I talk about corpses. We can head through the door. We can head through the door. Once we finish looting all the corpses. So I'll cut here, and then I'll start at entering the door. Now, this was a frustrating glitch that I had to shoot around. You see how there's still wood attached to this door? The script is supposed to be that when the tribals enter the room, they kick open the door, and the wood that was blocking them shut flies off. But for some reason in my game, that did not happen. So I've got this floating wood on every single door, and I had to shoot around it for it to make sense. So says we can head through the door. I'll cut there. I think that's going to be enough. And then if I don't make the transition, it sounds awkward. So that's where I did the cut. This is what it would sound like without the audio transition. You can hear a little click where it gets confused because the two different audios are so completely different. So you use a little constant power transition right here. Gives it a much more natural break, right? Hopefully that makes sense. Desmond's gonna hang back while we do all the dirty work. Once we finish looting all the corpses, we can head through the door to the east. We find ourselves in a hallway. There's a path to the north, which is blocked off, and then a path to the south. Okay, so that I was looking around the corner when I said that. So there's a path to the north, path to the north. We find ourselves in a hallway. There's a path to the north, which is blocked off, and then a path to the south. Here, you see how that timed up? Perfect. Put in a power transition. So to continue forward, we need to open the broken door to the west. Now, I know that someone's coming, but for the suspense of the narrative, I can't pretend that I do in the video, so I have to cut this part out where I'm alerted. So I'm going to skip right to... So what I'll do, if I don't know how much footage I need, I'll find the point where I know that I want. And then delete that, and then go right to the ending of where I recorded. Broken door to the west. Cut there, and then line up the cuts, and then just drag backwards. Cut there again so that I can put in a transition. Then I'll put in a transition there. Cut here, because I know that that's where my next spot is going to be. Play it, and hope it works. We find ourselves in a hallway. There's a path to the north, which is blocked off, and then a path to the south. It didn't work because I removed that. Ugh. I had that all perfectly lined up. There we go. Path to the north, which is blocked off, and then a path to the south. Because I forgot to put a cut right there. So I could put a cut there, then I cut that out. I know that's what I want. Move that in to overwrite that, delete that because I don't want it. It's not in line. Then I can cut there again. Put in another audio transition and hope for the best. Path to the south. So to continue forward, we need to open the broken door to the west. The floor crumbles beneath us. And it works. We find ourselves in some sort of dimly lit basement. Eerily, we see a dimly lit basement. Eerily, we see two mannequins standing up. There are two shelving units to the west. Oh, just gotta show the shelving units. There's the mannequins. Up. Move on over to the shelving units. Yep. There are two shelving units to the west, where we find two ammo boxes. I don't need to cut there because I want to. And a first aid kit, and there is a skeleton. Ooh, an issue in my audio. You hear that? First aid kit, and there is a skeleton lying right. I don't need that both times, so kit, and there's a skeleton. Take one of those out, and then I start talking about the skeleton. So let's go into the skeleton. That should work. And a first aid kit, and there's a skeleton lying right next to where we landed. Another body that Desmond, for some reason, never cleaned up. Continuing forward, we go to the south, where we find ourselves in a wine cellar. More eerie mannequins are standing about. We can go behind the big wine racks, where we find a small stash of chems, Radex, and Stimpaks. And we see that someone is banging on the door. Then I need to make sure that I made enough room for this to have the impact it needs. Yeah, that's okay, I think. The door. Okay, then I can move this over. Oh, great. I wonder who that... Banging on the door. Oh, that's actually a really great effect. It's pretty creepy. I love the dust they put around there. See that? That's great. Okay. Monzoom says I would lose my mind trying to do this stuff. Yeah. I feel ya. Alright. I wonder who that could be. As we get closer. So that's where they break in. So that's where I need to cut. Let's find a good pacing in my narrative. Oh, great. I wonder who that could be. which is going to be right there. Let's remove that. Get rid of the in and out. I always do that. Get closer. Move right there. That's where they burst through the door. Get rid of that. Don't need that anymore. Then I can drag this back. Put in the power transitions. And hear it. Oh, great. I wonder who that could be. As we get closer...
Look out! Look out!
Surprise! Surprise! More tribals. After looting the corpses, we can go up the stairs to the north. So I went through that quickly. Tribals. Cut there. Go to the corpses. After looting the corpses, cut there. Go to the stairs. I'm already 33 minutes into this video, and I'm not done. You see, I won't know how long these videos are until I finish it, which is why I come out with such long videos sometimes. The worst was Riley's Rangers. Oh my god. You sit down, you do the Riley's Rangers quest, you think, okay, I've got this all plotted out in my head. I only have to visit the Our Lady of Hope Library, Underworld, the Statesman Hotel, and the Riley's Rangers compound. That's only 4 places I gotta visit. Surely this is going to be a 30-minute video. No, it ends up being an hour and 20 minutes. That was a really late night. That was really, really late night. And I wasn't planning on it. So, but thankfully, I'm almost done here. And I've got another couple hours of editing. After looting the corpses, we can go up the stairs to the north, and we're back in the eastern wing. There's a doorway to the north that we can't open. To the north, and in the eastern wing. There's a doorway to the north, and we're back in the eastern wing. Doorway to the north that we can't open. There's a doorway to the north that we can't open. The path to the west is blocked with furniture, forcing us to go south. There are more tribals bursting the door. The problem with this particular dungeon is everything is, the surprise wears off after the first few encounters. A tribal falls through the floor, breaks down a door, flies through a wall. You're like, ooh, cool. And then it happens again, and it happens again, and it happens again. But, for the sake of faithfully retelling the story, I have to hit it all, so it gets a little repetitious. That's just the nature Tribals. Of it. After looting the corpses, we can go up the stairs to the north, and we're back in the eastern wing. There's a doorway to the north that we can't open. The path to the west is blocked with furniture, forcing us to go south. There are more tribals bursting the door. Then I can move this over. The game audio is so loud, said somebody his name. No, it says Gemodrak. Yeah, I know, and I've got a secret weapon for that. You probably won't see me get to use it in this live stream, but I'll show you what tool it is anyway. I'm no audio composer, so I use CN Levelator. It's a leveling tool. So what I'll do is after I finish editing absolutely everything, I'll splice in the music. Well, first I'll splice. So I'll edit it as you see it. I'll turn all of the sound effects off so that just the voices are present. I'll render that all into one audio file. I'll run that through the levelator. That levels all the audio so that you've got a consistent sound volume. So that all someone has to do is adjust the volume knob on their computer or their headphones so that they're comfortable, and then they know that for the rest of the video it's going to be at a level volume. That's my ace in the hole. Made my videos so much better. The room they burst from appears to be some sort of study. It has long been abandoned. Books and refuse. Whoops, why did I back up like that? Oh, it was to loot. So let's pretend like this is what I did. The room they burst from appears to be some sort of study. It has long been abandoned. Books and refuse lie everywhere. Someone has blocked up a doorway with desks. You find a first aid kit. abandoned. Books and refuse lie everywhere. The room they burst from appears to be some sort of study. It is long. Oh no, okay. The room they burst from. See what I did there? I was editing as if that was the room that I was talking about, but I had just said that the room that they burst from, which was the adjacent room. See, this is what happens when I do something in my head and I forget to write it down. The room they burst from appears to be some sort of study. It has long been abandoned. Books and refuse lie everywhere. Someone has blocked up a door. Lie everywhere. Everywhere. Someone has blocked up a doorway with desks. We find a first aid kit on the desk in the middle of the room. And to leave, we go through the desk in the middle of the room. Yeah, see, look at this. This is how quickly they do it. I'm looking at the kitchen. No enemies. I turn left. And there's enemies. They've got these scripts where they spawn an enemy as soon as you, of course, walk by, which is a little bit frustrating. Made things unpredictable, which is okay. That makes things fun. Oh, okay, one of the composers came back. He gave me 2 versions of the final song. All right, you guys want to hear? Let's hear what he came up with. Here's version 1. Well, once I download it. Oh, and he gave them to me as waves, which means they are pretty large file sizes. Let's download them. Okay, the first one's complete. Okay, here's version 1. This is composer number 1. All right. He sped that up there at the end. That was interesting. I could do something with that. All right, let's listen to version 2 of the same song by the same guy. Version 2. What was that funky jazz? Wasn't expecting that. Hear that again. Could it work? I don't know. What do you think? Do you guys like those? Should we have the guy do any further edits? Sorry if you're watching on Discord. I haven't been checking my Discord stream questions channel. Sorry about that. Let me get to it right now. Death Jester says that one sounded great. The first one is better. You guys like the first one? 2-2 is also So people are saying 2. Okay, version 1, version 2. You guys get it. Okay, it's got to be up to me. You guys are conflicted. Second one all the way, says Mrs. E. Poll! I'm not doing a poll. I'm not going to do a poll on the soundtrack. Ah, that's just too much time. Too much time wasted. I don't have time. I'm just going to tell him I like them both. Great. Sweet. I'm going to tell him that that's done. And I just got a message from composer number 2. And he's got 2 versions. Let's see what he did. Oh, it sounded like he opened up one of those Jack in the Boxes right in the middle of the song. Oh, why me? Why me? Man, it's so perfect. Except for Jack in the Box moment. Let's hear that again. Oh. Why? Why? Oh, I hurt. I hurt to laugh. Oh, okay. Oh, I think that's the best you're getting. I think that is the best I'm getting. I've worked this guy to the end. Okay. Oh, this poor guy. This poor guy is so done for the night. He's been working hard all day. So far, composer number 1, song version 2. Wasn't there a version 2 to the last one? Yeah, that's what I asked for, but he hasn't given it to me yet. We'll see. That's what I just asked him for. We'll see if it... What does your intro for the Point Lookout DLC look like? I don't know yet. I haven't made it. That's why I'm so frenzied. I have to wait for the music before I create the intro because I animate the whole thing set to the music. And if I don't have the music, I don't know what footage I need, what beats I'm going to make. So I get the music first and then I make the video. And I've been waiting all day for the music, which means I haven't made the intro. So I've been working on the video. But after I finish the video, I've got to do the intro, which is going to be another couple of hours. So I've got a lot of work ahead of me. But hopefully it'll all come together in an awesome first episode of the Point Lookout DLC for you all tomorrow. If things go well. Okay, and composer number 2 is working on a new version that we all liked. It had a weak climax, but at least it wasn't a Jack in the Box climax. I can't even believe, like, if you're a freelance composer and your client asks for a song, would you ever give him this? It's like a car crash, but it sounds like cars crashing. Ah, maybe I'm just a jerk. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's fine, and I'm just a jerk. Oh, I don't know. It's gonna work, ladies and gentlemen. It's all gonna work. We're gonna have a great video tomorrow. I promise you. I gotta listen to Composer 1 first. So you all like the second version of Composer 1 or the first version? It's like someone gave up. Yeah. That's version 1. That's a little too dissonant for me. It's a little too dissonant. So I'm just going to go ahead and tell him that I like the first version of that song. And he's going to get me a mastered version of the file right now. Then I can pay him, and we're good to go. And then Composer 2 is making the second version. And then I get to choose which one I want. Okay. Where, of course...
What the hell?
Surprisingly stubborn. These tribals are surprisingly stubborn enemies, even while lacking any sort of suitable armor. Stubborn enemies. Can I do something here? Even while lacking any sort of suitable armor, heading through the kitchen. Nope, that's not going to work. So instead, I'll just cut here. These tribals are surprisingly stubborn enemies, even while lacking any sort of suitable armor. Heading through the kitchen. Suitable armor. Okay, that works. Heading through the kitchen, we can go through a door to the north. Armor. Heading through the kitchen. I don't need to show what happened in the kitchen because there wasn't anything in here interesting, so I skipped through it. So instead we'll go through the door to the north, which is the pantry, I believe. Of suitable armor. Heading through the kitchen, we can go through a door to the north. This must have been the larder. Inside we find a selection of boxed foods, including sugar bombs. And then to the northwest, 2 ammo boxes at the very bottom of a shelf, and another first aid kit on the wall. Turning around, we can leave the kitchen. Get on the wall. Turning around, we can leave the kitchen by going through an eastern door. This leads us to a hallway that rounds a corner and again goes upstairs. Hey, good. I timed that right. Didn't even mean to. We see enemies on our... Stairs. We see enemies on our compass, so crouching down and... in the nearby billiard room. Our compass, so crouching down and creeping upstairs. Need no good cross dissolve right there, that'll be good. Stairs. We see enemies on our compass, so crouching down and creeping upstairs, we find them swarming around in the nearby billiard room. Man, that guy just stood right over me while I unloaded on his junk. Heading into the room, we see the... Heading into the room, we see the mounted heads of animals on the walls. Heading into the room, we see the... Wait, did I talk about that there or later? I think later. Mounted heads of animals on the walls. A skeleton lies on the billiard balls. On the walls. A skeleton lies on the billiard table, which otherwise looks none the worse for wear. We'll find an ammo box. Which otherwise looks none the worse for wear. We'll find an ammo box next to a big green leather chair. And is that a mole rat? Green leather chair. Yeah. I did stop there to talk about it, which is why I'm glad I didn't cut that part out. Chair. And is that a mole rat skin on the wall? And a double-headed Brahmin? How could these have been here from before the war? Mole rat Brahmin Desmond must have killed these creatures and stuffed them himself. But we don't get too long to ponder about such things. Oh man, I timed that wrong. Heading through the western door where that tribal long to ponder about such things, but it's okay. I can recover it here. Heading through the western door where that tribal attacked, we can turn north where we find an ammo box and a first aid kit. And then peering through a crack in the nearby wall, we see the other canister that we need to explode. So I cut it there, look in there. Although, I did turn really abruptly, and that's going to do a disconnect, so what if I cut that out and bring that in? Need to explode. There we go. Let's see what that sounds like. Canister that we need to explode. Oh no, I muted it. Okay, let's try that. Canister that we need to explode. With that, we seal off the western wing, and hopefully this will improve Desmond's attitude.
That's one less way for them to get in.
Perfect. Good old Desmond, he appears right where you need him, right when you need him. Desmond's attitude.
That's one less way for them to get in. Follow me. I think we're about to get hit hard.
What, you mean we haven't been hit hard already?
Yeah, here they come. About to get hit hard.
What, you mean we haven't been hit hard already?
Yeah, here they come. Grab all the ammo and stim packs you need. This is gonna be a rough one. If you have any mines, now's the time to use them. They could come in through any of the boarded up doors at any second.
Okay, composer number 1 came back with the finished version. Listen to it one more time. Sounds good. I'm going to give this guy points. Well, let's do that while I'm paying. And there we go. Great. He's good to go. Give him a review. Excellent work in a timely fashion. And the contract. Great. Okay, back to editing. Following him, he leads us to a sandbag barricade at the top of the balcony overlooking the entryway. Been hit hard already? Okay, sounds good. Well, there you go. There's the behind the scenes for episode 439 of my upcoming video. As you can see, I've got a little bit of work ahead of me, so I'm going to let you all go right now so that I can knock this out. But I appreciate you coming to this week's episode of Scotch and Smoke Rings. A little bit more animated than you're used to seeing me, I bet. But there you go. I've lifted the shroud. You can see a little bit of what goes on here at the Oxhorn channel. So thank you for coming. Be sure to tune in next week. Same Ox time, same Ox channel for Scotch and Smoke Rings episode 440. And be sure to tune in for tomorrow for the finished version of this video. And you'll get to see exactly which intro music I chose that you got to listen to today. So thanks again for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow morning, as always, bright and early, with a brand new video.